Good evening, y'all. Welcome to In the Paint, Smack 611. Um, I'm riding shotgun tonight by myself. Well, not shotgun, but I'm riding by myself tonight. Big brother Arthur be with us. This is In the Paint, the really show in sports. I'm Mark A. Cunningham, better known as Mac 611. I'm waiting for my fellas to tune in with me. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the NBA draft, New York Knicks, who they drafted, big trade, some other topics that are going on in sports. So I'm waiting on them, waiting on them. So hope everybody has been well. If you haven't, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. YouTube channel is as follows. It's the In the Paint Media Group. Me and Big Brother R, we really would like your support. So subscribe to the channel when you can. And I'm waiting on the fellas. I'm waiting. I really don't like to do this by myself, but I might have to tonight. So I'm still waiting for them. Still waiting. Anybody in the chat room? Any comments? Still waiting. I see 4 people are watching me. 3 people. 4 people, 3 people. Still waiting. Still waiting on folks. Let's see who's watching the chat. I'm gonna give it a few minutes. Oh, 2 people dropped off. I guess they don't like me. That's fine. I don't like me. That's cool. But yeah, follow us on Twitter at In the Paint Media. Follow me on Twitter, The Real Max611, and you can follow Rodney R. Jones, Big Brother R, as we call him. You can follow him at Real R. Jones. 3 minutes. Looks like nobody is here. I might end this. Oh, there's David. I'm gonna add him to the stream. Brother David.
What's up, Mark? How you doing?
I can't hear you.
Oh. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I'm back, David.
Can you hear me?
Hold on. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Now I can. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm all befuddled. I didn't have my headphones.
Oh, no, it's all good. I thought maybe it was a problem on my end.
And then I had the AC running, so I apologize. I turned that off.
Yeah, I turned mine off too. So it's going to be a hot one tonight.
Yeah. I know I wanted to do the NBA draft, but I guess we could start off with some baseball since
we
I know
we can start with NBA draft if you want to go into it, you know.
Well, no, I know baseball is your lane, and there's a lot going on. specifically with the New York teams.
Yeah,
So let's start with some baseball. How you doing though?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
All right. New York Mets traded for Javi Baez. Did they make any other moves?
Um, well, they got a pitcher. What's his name? Trevor. Not Williams, is it? I forget who the pitcher is that they
Yeah.
got along with Baez in the trade. And earlier, they made the move for Rich Hill earlier in the week.
Right.
But that's really it. And I think, as we were saying the other night, I don't think that they needed to do a whole lot.
Right.
I think, though, that because other teams around them made moves, it
Yeah.
caused the fan base to sort of get a little, tight about what's happening. Why aren't we doing anything? And,
Right.
sometimes, Mets made a move right before the deadline.
Right.
So I'm happy. I think it's a good deal. I think that Baez is versatile enough that once Lindor comes back, he can
Right.
play either second or third.
Right.
And he's a kind of an all or nothing type of hitter.
Yeah.
He gets hot, and when he's hot,
Mm-hmm.
he can really carry a team. And then
Right.
other times, he's a swing and miss guy,
Mm-hmm.
which is not unlike a lot of what they already have.
Right.
So I think overall it's a good move, and they gave up a prospect who was a single A player, but slated
Right.
to be
Right.
potentially a good player, but he wasn't going to be somebody that we would see for the next 2 or 3 years. So you
Right.
know how these things go.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
may turn into somebody great, or may
Mm-hmm.
not. I mean, I think about what's the kid that we gave up for Diaz and Cano, Kelnick,
Right.
who
Right.
people got all upset because we dealt him, and he was brought up, and they had to send him back down. So
Right.
not saying that he won't eventually, but that's baseball.
Right. 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 And like you said, Javi Baez is all a bus guy.
Mhm.
He currently has 22 home runs, so that's you know something that's needed.
Yeah, he's second. He's second now on the Mets behind Alonso.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
and he's close with Lindor.
Yep.
Uh, they said that didn't influence anything, but they definitely said that they spoke to Lindor about him. And they're he wanted to be with Lindor. So
Right. Right.
that's paying dividends, and that's the thing about going out and spending money on a guy. They gave Lindor a lot of money for, a lot of years, but
Mm-hmm.
just like in other sports, guys see that and they say, hey, you know what? This Mets are now a destination,
Right.
because of
Right.
who they have and the money that they're willing to put out for guys. So sometimes you're paying not just for the player that you get, but you're paying for potential players in the future just through that. So, that's
Right.
money well spent, I think.
Right. I got some questions for you in regards to the makeup now of the Mets and what they do going forward within the season, even before Lindor comes back.
Yeah.
Um, do you move McNeil off of second base and put him on third?
Um,
Do you
I
trade? Do you trade JD Davis? Continue to let Dominic Smith play left field every day.
so the way I see it is you're probably going to have once Lindor comes back and we're talking about maybe late August, at the earliest. So it's going to
Right.
be a few weeks of Baez playing his natural position. I think that you move him over the second, and
Mm-hmm.
you might platoon Davis and McNeil
McNeil.
at third.
Right.
At this point, because there isn't they don't have the waiver where you can trade past the deadline. They don't have it
Mm-hmm.
anymore. So that's why there was a mad rush for all the trades. It was a hard deadline. So who they have is who they're going to have. That's pretty much the makeup, unless they make moves up and down within their system. That's pretty much what it's going to be.
Right.
So I think that's probably what will happen is they wind up doing a platoon.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
McNeil has been very hot. He's got
Mm-hmm. He's got like almost a
multiple
20
game. Yeah, I
game
think it's like
hitting
50,
streak.
50, I think it's 15 today. He got two
No.
hits today.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
What about it's interesting now. The law has been playing good at third base.
Oh, absolutely,
Do you
absolutely.
do you sit him?
You know,
Davis hasn't been consistent enough this year due to like injuries
right.
and other things.
He came back. He came back hot, but then he's cooled off. Villar has really filled in admirably, and gotten some big hits for them. I think it's a good problem to have, but I also think that the expectations when they got Davis was that he would be there, and
Right.
Villar wasn't even in the equation because of
Mm-hmm.
injuries. He's there
Right.
now, and sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
I think that they owe some playing time to Davis just to see if he can get on track.
Right.
But down the stretch, I mean, we're going into the dog days of August now, and the NL East is very winnable for three teams, and
Mm-hmm.
so I think that going forward, you're going to look at who's hot and who
Right.
can get you wins. And
Right.
at this point, I think everybody, if you're a team guy, you understand that, and sometimes you
Right.
have to um, swallow a little bit of that pride and ego and say, well, the ultimate goal is to win, and
Right.
this guy may be able to lead us, and
Mm-hmm.
I can fill in and come off the bench and pinch hit,
Right.
and I'll get my playing time, but you sometimes you have to accept that.
Right. And
And it's not easy, but
right. And it's a good situation to have. You
yeah,
have
absolutely,
multiple guys who play multiple positions, and they can all, from in their past, they've all at times played very well for the Mets.
yeah,
I got another question for you. What do you think of the interim GM
yeah,
who was at the beginning of the season? He was going to be the assistant GM. How do you think he's done being the GM due to the situations that happened to the Mets in terms of the previous GM
yeah,
having his situation with the women?
yeah, yeah. Well, um, that's a good way to put it. I think that for him, the best job that he could do is to not make him the story and make
Right.
the deals that he's making the story.
Right.
And so he's done a good job with that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think that he has uh, giving some punch to this lineup, and um, he's been put in a tough situation because of injuries, and there's been so many different guys. I mean, every time I turn on the game, it's another guy that who is this and where did he come from?
Right.
So given all the circumstances of that, I think he's done a good job. I think that while he may hold the title of interim, I'm sure that there are other people involved that are helping him out.
Mm-hmm.
I know with the Baez deal, they still listen to Manaya on some of these things.
Right.
So while he may not be in a decision making role, he is still a voice that they will confer with.
Right.
So I'd say, I'd give him a passing grade. Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
And given like you said, the history prior, his predecessors, some very short lived. The fact that he's not been the story is a plus.
Right. I think the Mets need to. I said in our text, um, we gotta before we give him the job, we gotta check this guy out, make
Oh
sure
yeah,
he wasn't on the stroll somewhere in Brooklyn on Picking Ave.
yeah. I saw that. Yeah, no, it's real. It's real talk, and I think nowadays that's going to become more and more commonplace. They're going to have to no longer are they just focusing on is he a good baseball guy.
Right.
Is he a good guy? Are there
Right.
any skeletons that we're going to have to deal with? Because
Right. Right.
nowadays things are not as well hidden as
Right.
they were
Right.
10, 20 years
Uh,
ago.
I think Carrasco is coming back as well.
Yeah,
Um,
he started tonight.
oh, he
Um,
did. I missed
yeah,
that.
he started tonight, and he started with a bang. Unfortunately, the bang was for the Reds. First pitch he threw was a home run. So
Ooh,
yeah, um,
that's telling.
yeah, he
Well,
gave
he
up.
hasn't pitched
No,
all
he hasn't.
season,
He
so
hasn't. And I think what happened, as I was watching it, I imagine that he hasn't pitched in a long time. His first start for the Mets, and he's at City Field. I think he just wanted to get a nice get me over fastball
right,
to start things off, and the leadoff guy, I think his name is India, jumped all over it. I think he was like maybe even looking for it,
mm,
and took him out to left.
right,
No doubt. As soon as he hit it, it was like, oh damn, But he settled in. Mets had a good opportunity. They tied it in the first. Had the bases loaded, nobody out, and then I think the strikeout and then a double play.
right,
And last I checked, they were down 3-1. So I
right,
think Carrasco gave up two,
right.
and Votto hit a home run. His- Votto has hit seven straight games, home runs in seven straight games.
Walk that
So
fool.
yeah, and he was showing off a little bit when he
Hey,
got the home plate. He was like doing the power
oh, so he
thing.
he he pimped his home run.
Oh yeah, he definitely pimped it, but I think it was more. I think it was more the fact that it's been seven straight games now, and he's one off the major league record,
Mm,
and maybe he was just like jacked up, the fact that
right,
he did
right,
it. So I don't think he was doing it to show up the Mets. I don't think he has any reason
right,
to. Now,
right, right,
an interesting sidebar of this is that they're playing the Reds, and Javi Baez may
hmm
face Amir Garrett sometime this weekend.
Ooh,
Yes.
ooh,
So
ooh.
where we were looking at the story from afar, now it's become very personal. you know. So this might be interesting. He's I think he'll be with the team tomorrow.
Right,
Um
right, right,
so at some point Garrett may be in a position where they're gonna face
right,
off, and
right.
that might be very interesting.
Let's let's stay in the lane of the National League. I know some other teams made some moves. What do you think of the other moves that were made in the National League?
Well, the Dodgers definitely helped themselves. Um,
Yeah.
with Scherzer and Trey Turner.
Hmm.
The Dodgers just they're an organization that seems to know the right moves and the right buttons to
Right.
push. And they seized an opportunity. When Scherzer went on the block, there were some Met fans that would think, "Oh, we could get him," but I knew the Nats weren't going to
Yeah.
trade anything
Nationals are in our
potentially.
division, so I
That's
don't.
yeah. So
No.
same league, but he definitely
Right.
brings some help to the Dodgers, and
Hmm.
Bryant wound up in San Francisco,
Right.
and they're doing very well.
Right.
Even without him before he got there. Um, Braves had a lot of injuries, so
Hmm.
they strengthened their ball club.
Right.
Phillies made a couple of moves, but I don't know that it really helps them that much. So
Right.
that National League East is still it's going to be a dogfight, and it's going to be some wounded dogs battling it out. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
it
Do
might
the
look a little
Mets?
Michael Vickish. you know?
The Mets, don't they have a 5-game lead right now on the rest of
I think there
the
are
rest of the
3. I
division,
think
right?
there might be 3, 3 and a
3?
half.
Okay.
But, as of the last I checked, both the Phillies and the Braves were losing tonight, so all 3 of them are losing.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
I
so, I'll take that. So it's still narrow. I think, though, if the Mets can, maintain their health, get
Right.
guys back, they're looking at maybe Thor comes back September for that
Mhm.
September run.
Right.
Um, DeGrom, they had a setback,
Yeah,
so
I saw that today.
yeah, some
Um,
information with the elbow. So he's
maybe
not.
maybe he needs 2 weeks off.
I think so.
2 more weeks
Yeah,
off, rather.
yeah, yeah. So I think they told him no throwing for a couple of weeks, and then we'll revisit that. Um, a healthy DeGrom, and I think that they could be in a good position to
Right.
take this.
Right.
It's not going to be pretty,
No.
but but hey, this isn't a beauty contest.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
the few other moves around the league, but those were the pretty much big ones. I'm really surprised about um, just the fire sale out of Chicago and the
Right.
Nationals. That
Mhm.
I mean, they were joking that the Nationals traded their whole team and the Cubs traded half of them. So I don't know what the plan is there, but we're talking about 2 teams that are what 6 years. When did the Cubs won in when did they win in 2016?
Yeah.
So about 5 years, and the Nationals just won a couple of years ago. So they
2019, I think the
yeah
Nationals won.
yeah. So 2 teams that at least got World Series out of it.
Right. Especially the Cubs.
The
What
Cubs,
was it, like 100
yeah,
years?
it was something like that. I mean, it was that damn goat, But uh, so I got a buddy of mine who's from Chicago, and he was texting me today about it, and so he got his World Series. Who knows
Mhm.
what's going to happen there? But I was really really surprised at how many of them moved.
Yeah.
But and then the fact that Kim Holla, all right,
He's in the house.
in the house, yes. Um, Kimbrel, glad that there was talk at one point that Philly might get him, so we got him out of our way. You know,
Right.
but
Right.
it was exciting if you're into all the movement, player movement.
Right. I just wanted to say, you talked about the Dodgers. The Dodgers are moving how the Yankees used to move back in the day,
Yes,
in terms of
yes.
they're spending money and they're making moves on the fly, getting that piece to add to the already big pieces that they have to ultimately get to the World Series and
Oh,
win.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
And I know it's funny how people who aren't Dodgers fans, they don't like that. They don't like the
Yeah,
moves they make. They didn't like it
yeah.
when the Yankees used to do it. Me personally, aren't we all trying to win? Aren't all organizations supposed to try to win?
They're supposed to. Some don't act like it, but
Right.
they're definitely supposed
So
to, and
so
can't
is
fault them
there
for that.
something wrong with what they're doing?
No,
Right.
they're all playing with. We all have the same rules. We may not all have the same finances, but we
Right.
all have the same rules, and at least you want to feel like they're trying.
Right.
We ultimately there's only going to be one winner every year, and
Right.
the other 29 teams um, are going to lose at the end. But I want them to at least try.
Right. Right. Speaking of trying, let's move across
The
town
Bronx,
to the BX.
yes,
The New York Yankees traded for left-handed sluggers, outfielder Joey Gallo, and first baseman Anthony Rizzo. What do you think of those
I,
moves?
I
That
think it's a great move. I don't
right.
know at this point if it's a case of too little, too late, but
Hmm.
I was surprised when I heard that because I really haven't been following the Yankees, but their
Hmm.
lineup was so right-handed dominant. And you
Right.
think about Yankee Stadium. Uh, yep. You think about Yankee Stadium.
Hmm.
They've historically had the left-handed power hitters.
Right.
So that big move for them. I think I heard Rizzo homer tonight. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so Yanks were up 1-0. So that's immediate return on the investment.
Right.
Um, uh, so I like the move. I think that it was definitely needed, and I don't know if it's going to salvage things. When we're
Right.
talking about Boone in the front office, but again, if you're a fan, you want to see them do something,
Right.
and so I think they did that. But again, I just don't know if if they did enough to overcome the deficit that they put themselves in, because they haven't played well at all, and so
Right.
they've dug this hole for themselves. And um, Gallo and Rizzo are good additions, but
Hmm.
sometimes it may not be enough for this year.
Right. Right. Joey Gallo is what you described before. He's boom or bust. He
That's
strikes
right.
out a lot.
Yep.
But I don't know. This year he's walked a ton.
Yeah.
He has like 74 walks in over
Okay.
350
Okay.
at bats.
Okay.
He's a solid outfielder.
Yeah.
Very athletic. He's won a Gold Glove before. He primarily played right field, but he's gonna be put in left. He can also play first base,
Right.
and they say he's also a good first baseman, which
Yeah.
is which
Yeah. He's
is
not going to
good.
hurt you there.
Right. Rizzo is a solid first baseman, solid guy in the clubhouse, solid bat.
Yeah. Yeah.
He does all the right things. He's better in a really solid first baseman, so the defense will get better. And hey, Cashman had to make a move, man.
He had to. He had to. He had to. I mean, he couldn't rest on his laurels any longer. I mean, that's the expiration date on that success is passed. So he had to do something. It's funny because I hear people complain, in terms of Gallo and in terms of Baez of the high strikeouts, and
Right.
yeah, that is that doesn't look good. But in today's time, the strikeout is frowned upon a lot less
Right.
than it was, 10, 15, 20 years ago, where you had guys that, took it as a sign of disrespect. If you struck me out,
Hmm.
now it's like, they feel like they're going to make up for it, and it's going to even itself out. And so it doesn't really concern me as much because the game has changed a lot. I mean, I'm not saying it's changed for the better, but it's changed a lot where you're going to have a lot of high strikeout guys. So,
Hmm.
but I think there's definitely rewards in it, and um, what they could bring you on the defensive end, might make up for something. So where they strike out, they might save you some runs too defensively.
Right. Right. Definitely. Definitely. Anything you want to talk about in the American League besides the Yankees?
Um, Not really. I mean, I'm interested just to see how things are going to play out. We've got some divisions where teams that look like they're running away, and then we're going to have some dogfights. And um, I'm really fascinated to see that battle out in the National League West.
Right.
You know,
Padres and the
yeah,
Dodgers.
yeah, and the Giants in the mix of that too.
Right.
So that's going to be fun.
Right. And
Um,
the Padres are another team
yeah,
spending money.
yeah, that which wasn't their mo for many years, but in the past few years I remember a few years ago they spent a lot of money and got a lot of free agents, but it just didn't pan out.
Right.
But they've definitely turned the corner, and they are a team to be reckoned with. And I think out there in the West, some of the moves that they make, the Dodgers made, and also the Giants are, to keep players
Right.
away from. Sometimes it's not just about getting players; it's to keep them away from other teams.
Yep.
So,
Yep. You
that's
what's interesting? I saw somebody with an old Padres
oh
jersey
yeah,
on, the old
yeah,
the
yeah.
chocolate and yellow.
The Randy
I,
Johnson.
I
I mean
always like
Randy Jones. I'm sorry, Randy
I
Jones.
always like the Padres
Yeah,
jerseys.
yeah. It was. I like the throwback. It was a definitely a 70s 80s type of feel. The vibe, even the logo was. Um, and I like to see them. Speaking of jerseys, the Mets wore their black jerseys
Right.
tonight.
Oh, I want to ask you about that.
I like it. I always liked it.
Oh,
Um,
I have one in the closet.
there you go. There you go. I always liked the black jerseys from um, the last time they wore them was 2012.
Right.
And so I learned tonight listening to the broadcast that for MLB, for you to change your jersey, you have to notify Major League Baseball by November,
Mm.
and then you can make the move 2 years after that. So
Ah.
so November, let's say November of 2021, if they decided, because what they did was there's an exception where you could have limited use jerseys.
Right.
And
Right.
so up to 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Mets, that's why they debuted them this late, is because they're going to then wear them the last 5 Friday night home games, and
Beautiful.
so that's why it's so late. But if they want to insert that into their regular uniform rotation, they would
Mm-hmm.
have to notify MLB by November, and then the earliest that they can break them out would be 2023.
Right. So it's funny. I'm on Twitter and I know that the perception of the black Met jersey is that it's bad luck.
Yeah,
Um, and people don't. One dude was like, "It's hideous. Blue doesn't go with black." I'm like, "What are you talking
no,
about?
it's fire.
Black goes with everything. Are
Right,
you
right.
mad?" And that
The only
black Met
time
jersey is fire.
it's fire. I might say something that might get me bashed, but
Uh oh,
the
say
only,
it.
the only time blue doesn't go with black is we talk about the police.
Oh, you mean the blue gang? Oh,
Yeah.
ooh, see, now you got me doing it.
now we're both going to be canceled. Yeah.
If any of y'all offended by that, get at me. My Twitter handle is at the real Max611. Get at me for that comment.
Yeah.
I
My
dare
Twitter
you. We could
handle
debate it out.
is not me, and I didn't say it. That's my Twitter handle.
You want to move on to the NBA?
Sure.
What do you think? Did you watch the draft?
Yes, I actually did. I actually did. I watched it until the Knicks made their last pick. What was it, 32?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I
yeah,
watched into the beginning of the second round.
right.
Um, it was a lot of depth in the draft, and some
Hmm.
teams definitely helped themselves. Uh, I was anticipating what the Knicks were going to do,
Right.
and I didn't really watching it understand what they were doing, but
Hmm.
then later, as I read up on it, from my understanding, they had wanted to move up, and
Right.
then were unable to. So the guys that they had really targeted were gone, and by that point,
Right.
they were like, "Well, we don't really have any use for it." The one guy that they did get, what's his name? Quinn. What's his name? The kid from Houston. Um, seems like
Grimes.
yes, Grimes. Um, seems like a
Quentin.
good baller. Quentin, right?
Quentin
I was
Grimes.
saying Quinn. It's Quentin. Baller. I got excited when they made a couple of picks, and then it was like, oh nope, they're not ours. They were talking about the one guy that they picked with the vertical. The vertical. really high, jumping out of the gym guy,
Right.
and then he's going to the Clippers. I was like, what the
Mm-hmm.
hell, So it has moments. I want to say though the classy move that the NBA did for the young man,
Yes. Yes,
that
that was
was tragically
beautiful.
killed. That was that was a hard watch. I
Yeah.
mean, I could. I mean, I'm glad that they did it, and his mom and his sister, and the little brother, uh, they do a good job with that. Those are the kind of
Right.
things that I think they do really well. I remember
Right.
2-3 years ago, the young man who they discovered the illness and he wouldn't be able
Mm-hmm.
to play, and they
Right.
did that for him. So that was really classy and it was a nice touch.
Right.
But I think that the Detroit pick was obvious.
Hey,
They
he
got
might be
themselves.
related to me.
Hey, you never
Cade
know.
Cunningham.
Exactly, exactly. He got the height in the family,
Yeah.
but
I
yeah,
believe he's 6'8".
6'8". I didn't know he was that big, but
Yeah.
that's good. That's going to be a problem.
I'm
I like.
I'm upset he went to Detroit because I don't think Detroit
Yeah,
is gonna be good in the coming future. But you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I'm hey, he signed a deal. He signed with Nike.
yeah,
He signed a couple of deals before the draft. I'm reading,
yeah,
the report. I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like the nickname Motorcade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that may be the best part
That
of
was
it.
a good pick for Detroit.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Knicks pick, Grimes is a solid defender. He's a good
yeah,
shooter, which is two things we needed.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
got some height to him. I believe he's 6'5",
yeah.
so
Hmm.
he's more of a two guard.
Yeah,
He's not really a point guard, but he's a solid defender.
yeah,
And I think they drafted him because of what happened with Trey Young.
right.
And they
Absolutely. Well, that I totally agree. I think when that happened, that exposed a definite need for them because Trey Young feasted on them, and
right,
no one could stop him.
right,
So I think that I wish I'm a fan of point guards.
right,
Always love that's always was my favorite position, and I really long for them to have that that real floor general.
right. We
Um,
haven't had a real floor general since Mark Jackson and
yeah,
Rod Strickland.
Rod Strickland. Yeah, yeah,
We were okay with Chris Childs and Charlie Ward.
right,
They weren't superstars, but they were effective because the Knicks had better players at other positions. But
right,
they weren't
right.
also true floor generals. They
Right.
were just solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we haven't had one since then. I know Stephon Marbury, who we love.
Yeah.
It didn't pan out.
Right.
Whole bunch of
Right.
reasons why.
Right.
The Knicks have gone through a litany of. I look back through the Knicks' recent history,
Yeah.
and they've had Baron Davis, Steve
Yeah.
Francis, Jalen Rose,
That's right.
Penny Hardaway,
That's
T
right.
Mac was here.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Everybody, and all of them, they were at the end of their careers, and I'm sitting
right.
there going,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
had Chauncey Billups,
Right.
who
Right.
they kept for a hot minute.
Oh, I mean,
Katino Mobley,
Katina and then when we had Jeremy Lin,
right,
running the point. So yeah, I think you're right. They haven't had a true floor general since back in the days when they had Jackson and then they had Strickland. And I think that's really where I sort of fell in love with the position. I used to
mm-hmm,
watch Mark a lot. I
mm-hmm,
remember back in the late '80s, just before the Knicks got really good, and when Jackson was about second, third year. So,
right,
and you know, we used to be able to go right up to the window at the Garden and buy
Mm-hmm.
tickets
Yep.
for the game
And get good
and
seats.
sit where you wanted. Yeah,
Yep. I
yeah.
remember those days.
And I remember a young Mark Jackson paired up with Patrick Ewing um and then when they beat what was it when they beat Philly and they came out in the picture with the brooms.
Mm-hmm. That's when they
You know,
beat Philly
that's,
3 straight in the
yep,
playoffs,
that's right. That's
and they
right.
brought out the broom. I was so happy. I
Yep,
was I was in college when that happened. Me and my friend, me and my brother, his nickname is Stick.
yeah.
I was like, Stick was our he was our what do you call a guy who watches the floor for in the dorms? He was our
Oh
dorm
yeah,
guy.
yeah. Your RA.
He was
Yeah,
our RA.
yeah.
And it's funny, I guess me and him sort of looked alike, but he's 6'1"
Okay.
and I'm 5 nothing.
Yes.
And they was like, "Oh look, it's Stick and Little Stick." I'm like, yo,
Stick and
but
twig.
but me and him every night we watched that playoff series in our dorm.
Mm,
We actually was stealing cable because we weren't supposed to have MSG.
right, right, right.
So we were sitting in the dorm watching
Dolan's
that
still mad
game,
at you.
and that's when they brought out the broom. Me and him
Yeah,
were super happy.
yep, yep. Those fun times. It was, a different New York. But uh, before it became like Celebrity Row and everybody wanted
Hmm.
to be seen at the Knicks games, you could just walk up there. Now you see some celebrities, but you could get in there and you didn't have a problem buying a ticket. So those were fun days, but that's when
Yeah,
I really I loved watching Mark play and just the way he facilitated that offense and he and Pat teamed up.
yeah, they had really good chemistry.
Yeah,
I like these moves the Knicks made in the draft. We got a young guard. We got a guy from Europe we're gonna stash. He's only 20.
yeah, yeah,
So they'll stash him for a year. The other two guards that they drafted, they may make the team or they may be in the G League, but
yeah,
still, it's always good to have depth. And I hope the Knicks develop these guys. Grimes is definitely going to play.
yeah, yeah. They they
Uh,
they signed a kid after the draft out of Clemson.
yeah,
Yeah. So who knows? He definitely might play with a chip on his shoulder and anything to motivate you. But
right,
you
right,
know, so
right.
that'll be fun. There were a lot of moves, a lot
Yeah,
of moves made on draft night.
yeah. You want to move on to the big thing.
Yep. Yeah.
The LA Lakers traded Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Kentavious, Caldwell-Pope for Russell Westbrook. What are your thoughts?
Um, I liked it actually.
Mm-hmm.
Russell is a LA guy,
Right.
so that in itself might have also influenced that decision to go there. But I
Right.
like the move because um, you know Braun is Braun, but he's got some years on him now.
Right.
But that's a formidable team. They're healthy. You got AD and Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of options there. Kuzma, you know, I'm not really sad to see him go. Uh, um, he was too iffy for me. He
Right.
started out where I thought he had a lot more potential, but maybe the change of scenery would reinvigorate him. Montreal, we hardly knew you, and KCP, and KCP. I mean, you know, I think it's a move that the option was presented to them, and I think they had to take it.
Right. Didi, our brother Dwayne said it's another big three. Yes, another
Yeah,
big three. Um,
that's
my
the way
thoughts,
the NBA now.
my thoughts are that it was a good move. A lot of people disparage him for whatever reason. I see that guy is coming in. A lot of people disparage Russell Westbrook. Some
Yeah.
people call him a ball hawk. I'm like,
But
ball
his
hawks
assist,
don't average 12
his
assists like
assist
he
numbers.
averaged last year.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's misleading.
right. And I think him going to play with LeBron and AD, it's a good move if the coach makes certain adjustments.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook doesn't have to chase rebounds now with LeBron and AD there. If it were me, I would sit them down as a group and I would say, Russ, you getting 11 rebounds is beautiful. But how about this? What you did in OKC was you chased rebounds so that you could get the ball quicker and your team could get into its offense quicker. We got LeBron and AD for that. So when rebounds go up, I want you to go the other way and let LeBron or AD hit you with outlets, and let's start our offense faster that way. And when LeBron is on the bench, Russell can control the offense.
Right.
When they're on the floor together, either or could play off the ball.
Yeah.
Russell, when he drives, he creates space for shooters. So the Lakers need to go and get another big man who can shoot threes, and they need another guard who can shoot.
Yeah. Is Hill still on the table for them, or?
Yeah, they still trying to get Hill. If they could get Buddy Hill, Lakers look.
Yeah.
They'll look even better because Buddy Hill's a better shooter than Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is.
Yep.
What you said earlier about Kyle Kuzma, he was too up and down. I like him, but he was too inconsistent.
Yeah.
Montrezl Harrel, solid guy, solid power forward center. Kentavious Pope, another guy. He's somewhat inconsistent in big games and in big moments. So they go to Washington, they make Washington better with Bradley Beal. I think it was a good trade on both sides.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma will fit in with Hachimura and Beal and the rest of those players. Washington needed a big man. They get him in Montrezl Harrel, and Kentavious Pope is a solid shooter. He doesn't have to be you don't have to feed him the ball as much as you did in LA because you already have Bradley Beal, so he'll be coming off the bench. So it's a solid team. And I think the trade, Russell Westbrook is going to surprise people with how he adjusts his game to LeBron and AD and how they mesh together. And I think so too. I think they'll be successful.
I think so too. I think I agree with you. Sit them down and talk about, look, this is what we got here. This is how we can maximize what we have, and I think that they're buy into it.
Right, like Didi said, if he does what Harden did with the Nets, is barbecue chicken.
That's right.
Right, I'm gonna bring Chandler in.
Okay,
Chandler, you ready to talk, brother?
Yeah, I just popped in, man. I was in the hospital for 3 days, and I just wanted to see what's up. I'm probably gonna fall back asleep because don't get any rest in the hospital. So
yeah,
okay, brother. I'm gonna put you back. I'm gonna put you. I'm gonna mute you then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call you tomorrow. I hope you're doing all right.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Same thing's been going on.
Okay.
What's up, David?
What's up? Best of health to you.
All right, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it was a good move. They have some more, like I was saying to Dom in our chat, the Knicks and in the Facebook group, the Knicks have some more moves to make. Lakers will have some more moves to make as well. You want to move on?
Yeah. Well, I just want to say for the first time in a while, they're going to have some money to play with too.
Yeah, they got
I think
Knicks have
50.
$50 million
Yeah,
in cap space.
yeah. They got some decisions to make, but there might be better options out there than people that they might not bring back. So
Right.
I'm curious to see. I think August 1st.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with it.
Right. You want to move on to some football?
Okay, we can do that. I'll play along.
You saw what happened with the New York Giants this week?
I saw
Did you hear?
something was posted. Yeah, go, and I'll catch up.
Okay. New York Giants cut tight end Kelvin Benjamin. We know he used to be a former wide receiver. He played for the Carolina Panthers. He's one of GM Dave Gettleman's former players when Gettleman was in Carolina. So he brought him in to play tight end because the dude is 270 pounds. You can't be a wide receiver weighing 270 pounds. So
he's got the wide part of it.
Right. So he was unceremoniously cut publicly on the field, basically. Well, he wasn't cut. He wasn't cut on the field. He was told he was going to be fined by Joe Judge, and he got upset. When they signed him and he came in for mini camp, he weighed about 265 pounds. They told him they wanted him to lose 15. So now, the real camp starts.
Yeah.
He weighs 268 pounds now.
Oh, okay. So it's...
And he was told, I'm going to fine you because I told you to come in at 250.
Right.
You 268. And he said, it's muscle.
Wow. See, and he's a receiver.
Yeah.
I would have told him, how back in the days when we played football and you had somebody that you really didn't want, that wasn't any good, you tell them go long, and you just tell them go longer, further, keep going, until they run off the field, and that's what and I would have closed the gates behind them.
Right. So he got mad, and I'm like, dude, you were told to come in at a certain weight. You didn't make that weight. So you're going to get fined.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, I mean, quarantine put a lot of weight on people. So, I mean, I gained several pounds, and I'm thankful that no one is fining me for that.
We won't talk about weight because I'm slim, but a gut don't look good slim on a slim dude. So I wear large shirts to hide the little gut. I need to lose a few pounds though.
Yeah, I think we all do. So moving right along. Well,
let's move along. The New York Jets, they signed Zack Wilson. They gave him 4 years for $35 million. It's fully guaranteed. He got a $22 million bonus, which he'll get in 15 days. And that's fully guaranteed as well. What are your thoughts on that?
I need that kind of job. I need,
I know.
Believe me, I'd make weight too. That's quite a hell of an incentive. Right. Well, I think they had to. I mean, it took a while to get them, inked, and they really didn't have anybody else behind him. So he is your man, and we're going to see what happens. I'm not excited about it. He doesn't excite me, but not much about the Jets, and I'm a Jets fan, but not much about them excite me. But they did what they had to do because they put themselves in a position where they limited their options. So now this is what you have, and you're going to have to pay them.
Right.
So
he ain't done nothing yet. He got, all his money is fully guaranteed.
Well, that's the part that you said. That's the biggest part of it that got me was the guaranteed part, because that's usually not a word that you hear, in football and contracts. But again, I feel like certain teams do this.
Right.
The Knicks, prior to this latest change, and maybe they're figuring things out as to borrow what Dom always says, adult in the room. The Mets are famous for teams. Some teams seem to put themselves in positions creating a problem for themselves, and then they have to spend money to fix that problem. So you have something that did not exist, a problem that you create, and then you've got to pay for it to remedy it. And sometimes you remedy it, but you cause a bigger problem. So that's how these patterns of struggles with some certain organizations. We were talking about the Dodgers and we were talking about the Yankees of past, who did things a certain way and knew which buttons to push. The Jets, unfortunately, are a team, an organization that seems to make a lot of mistakes and has a lot of growing pains and has to pay for those mistakes. A lot harder than some other teams do. So, I don't know. I don't know. You start the season at a deficit,
right?
But you put yourself there,
right? The Jets haven't had that definitive quarterback since Joe Namath.
Yeah, well, pantyhose and all. Yeah, and
pantyhose, fur coats.
Yep. I mean, he was made for New York in that time. I mean, the New York in the late 60s, 70s.
CC Rider.
Yes. It was an interesting place. If you were old enough to take advantage of some of the sights and scenes of New York in that time, Joe Namath fit into that. Broadway Joe. Right. But since then, they have not had that franchise quarterback. And I was thinking back at when we were talking about the Knicks and point guards, and when Charlie Ward was here, and at the time Charlie Ward played for the Knicks, he might have been the best quarterback in New York.
Probably.
Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Zack Wilson may surprise everybody and turn into something. You never know. It's hit or miss. But like you said, he hasn't done anything yet. But he's got his money. Yeah, I want that kind of job where I don't have to do anything first, and you pay me, and it's guaranteed. And then
I gotta wait 15 days for $22 million. Yeah. Let me contemplate that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, so
15 days, he gonna be. It's like he hit lotto.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and he's just waiting for that check.
And see, that's a typical Jets move.
Well, yeah, it is. It's very typical, and but the fan base will still be out there, and
Well, I think the new coach we have, if they give him a chance, and let him change things around, and they give him better pieces. I think the pieces they have right now, it's better than it was last year.
Yeah.
It's not playoff ready, but if things, football is funny. If things swing a certain way, they could be in a hunt for the playoffs and be
that's
at least 8-8.
Right.
8-9, because now they're 17
That's
games.
Right. That's right. I did forget about that. So you have one more week to get it right. Well, hopefully with new coach, this coach and the players will be able to see eye to eye.
Yeah. And the Jets also, they haven't had, since Bill Parcells, they haven't had that definitive coach either.
Yeah. Although I did enjoy Rex with his.
I like Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
But
I think that was the last time they were fun.
Right. And the GM sabotaged him because they didn't they didn't spend the money right.
Yep.
A lot of people don't like Rex Ryan. Going to 2 AFC championships is not a fluke.
Right. And with Sanchez,
right?
So he's damn near miracle worker. That when they went into New England and beat the Patriots, and it's like that's when they were a really fun team. It's just they couldn't get past the Raiders, but
right, and they couldn't get past I think Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
they lost to Peyton Manning one season.
Yeah, which is, I mean, hey, what are you gonna do? I'll take that.
Yeah. Speaking of QBs. I think there was some hugs and kisses in Green Bay. Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers seemingly have resolved their issues.
Now that's interesting. I heard an interesting take on. I was home today, so I was ESPN was on, and one of the guys likened it to. He said. What was the movie? I think it said Brown Sugar. Mm-hmm. And Tay Diggs goes to the restaurant and he sees his wife,
on a date.
On a date, and the waiter, asked him how he's doing and stuff, and he said, "I'm celebrating my divorce."
Right.
And so he used that example to say that this was signing the divorce papers and that they're going to play nice, but it's pretty much over, and it just they made it look nice for public and consumption, but I don't know enough about it, but Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers, and very capable of. I mean, they should have won last year for some questionable coaching. So, but it's all business. I mean, these guys they drag each other through the mud, and who knows what they're saying behind the scenes and what they work out.
I gotta ask you this question, David. If you were my star quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were getting up there in age.
Yes.
Right? Aaron Rodgers is 37, so you're not going to be able to play forever.
Right.
So if I were the owner or the GM, I wouldn't do things the way teams do things. I would sit them down and say, listen, you're still my guy.
Mm-hmm.
But the wheels are falling off. You're 37. How much more do you have in the tank?
Right.
So we're going to draft somebody who's going to be your replacement. We're not replacing you now.
Right.
And I think people get mad. Like Brett Favre left Green Bay. It was a mess.
Yes.
The situation with Eli Manning where they told him, we're going to sit you, and he was crying like a little kid.
Right.
Allegedly.
Right. Always going to say allegedly. So that question you asked, if I was your star quarterback, I think I would respect the fact that you were transparent with me,
right,
and still appreciate all that I had done. I think that you're delusional if you think that you're never going to be replaced.
Right, unless you're Tom Brady.
I was just about to say, unless you're Tom Brady, who might be holding up the Lombardi Trophy at 50 for all we know, but it's inevitable, and I think that many athletes come to that understanding. I think most people who have the resume, like Aaron Rodgers does, and some other stars, they want to at least be able to give the impression that it was their decision.
Right.
And I think that they feel that they've earned that right. Sometimes it's very unceremonious, and they dump guys, and that's where they feel that their ego gets stepped on, and they feel like, after all that I've done, this is how you do me.
Right.
So I think that for me, I would at least appreciate that kind of conversation where we start talking about, okay, what's the next steps? How much longer do you think you have in the tank? I know what I see, and my coaching staff sees. What do you see? And then I would be able to tell you, in all honesty, I might be able to, at this level, give you another year or two tops. But at least I would like to feel that I had earned the right to have a say in how things are going to go. You don't necessarily owe me anything, but I feel that, I've given of myself to this organization, and I would like that kind of respect. So that would be my response to it.
Right. He has been upset with the roster, upset with some of the, I guess, with the coaching and how things aren't to his liking. And, he said he contemplated retiring, and if you got a superstar, your superstar, you have to placate him.
Right.
You gotta keep him. You gotta rub him down and let him ease it to him. Listen, baby.
Right.
you gotta soft talk it.
Right. Exactly. I mean, you do want consent. That's the most important thing. But I want to say, to the point of contemplating retirement. Let me be frank. That's a line that a lot of people use.
Right.
Oh, you can contemplate a whole lot of stuff. That doesn't mean you were going to actually act on it. But it sort of adds an element of, victimization. I was so frustrated that I was just willing to walk away from the whole thing.
Right.
No, you weren't. Because if you really were, you would have just done it. You're not going to make this much of a fuss about all that. They didn't do this, they didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, I've been on jobs where I've contemplated walking out that door.
Yep.
We all have. But then you start factoring things, and did I actually say I was going to do it? No, I didn't say I was going to do it. I said I contemplated. Hell, I contemplated having a cheeseburger tonight. But you contemplate a lot of stuff. So I think it sounds good for the media, and then you start talking about Aaron Rodgers. Said he contemplated retirement. Right. But you still you signed and you expect to play.
Right.
Guy, I think of a guy like, in recent history, like a Derek Jeter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Some guys, they tell you, this is my last season, regardless of what happened. And they go out their way. That's what most superstars would like to happen. So it wasn't, I'm contemplating. No, I'm going to retire, and this is why. And it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. It has to do with me. If guys are talking about they're going to quit because they're not getting what they want, I think it's a little bit on the side of bullshit.
Right. And it the respect goes, for me, it goes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
The organization should respect the superstar, and the superstar should respect the organization.
Yeah.
Like one of the stories, I wish I could find the video. Maurice Cheeks, who used to play the great Maurice Cheeks, who used to play for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
He's a top 50 player. He's one of the better point guards in NBA history.
Yep.
A Philly legend.
Yep.
And he took his kids and his family out, and as he was returning home, the reporters, somebody already got to school. Hey, Maurice, you just got traded to the San Antonio Spurs, and the look on his face.
Yeah.
I think I might have been 15 when this happened.
Yeah.
And I felt how he felt. I was like, oh, snap, that's foul.
No,
And he put his head down, and the reporter is still going, so how do you feel? How do you feel?
Yeah.
And so he got traded, And then for the next 2 years, he couldn't adjust to being traded.
Yeah.
And those 2 years, he didn't play very well.
Right.
And that, I was like, how could Philly, how could Philly do him like that?
Yeah.
And that's, that's business though.
That's business. But you're dealing with human beings and human emotion. And I think that in that case, it was mishandled by Philadelphia.
Right.
And then the fact that Mo Cheeks was a legend. You're playing along, those Philly teams with Doc, and Billy Cunningham and all of them, battling against both
the
Celtics and the Lakers, and then you're gonna not even give me the decency. That's the worst thing, when you got to hear about it from someone else on the street. Literally, I'm with my family, I'm coming home and there's a reporter waiting for me to tell me that I got traded. That's definitely a mishandling of it. And probably, if they had come to him, because he essentially blindsided him.
Yes.
And his psyche, he didn't recover from that.
Right.
So I can see it. I mean, it reminds me of when the Mets got rid of Willie Randolph. Now that was just foul. First of all, they just left New York and flew across country to LA, and then in the hotel, they're going to tell cancel the room service. We got your red eye back to New York. That's yeah. I mean, you sitting there, preparing to play the Dodgers, and then they tell you. I mean, they made you fly the flight. I've done the flight to LA many times.
So have I.
Five and a half hour flight. And they're gonna make them fly all the way across. It was foul. I mean, we laugh about it today, but I mean that was really
right. And we talk about the human aspect. Remember the movie Any Given Sunday?
Yes. Yeah.
Remember one of the funniest scenes to me is Cat Rooney telling his wife, I'm ready to retire. We got money saved. I think I'm gonna move into coaching or broadcasting and yada yada yada. And she was like, cut that. You Cat Rooney. Get your ass back on.
That's right.
And he's like, yo, he said, I wake up with, he got memory lapses.
Right.
Earlier scene, he was in the hospital moaning and groaning about his back.
You don't give a damn about that.
And she was like, Cat Rooney.
Go back out there. Make me that money. Yeah.
So we forget like the human aspect of things.
Yeah.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers, maybe he wants to leave, but he doesn't want to leave the way it's going down.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I don't think Green Bay should do. It looks like Green Bay is gonna end up like how it ended with Brett Favre, with them hating each other. And
but the thing about it, ultimately the franchise wins, because you look at teams they're going to carry on, they're going to continue, and the fan base, they may not like what they did with Aaron Rodgers, but the cheeseheads are still going to be the cheeseheads, and they're going to be out there, at the Packers games with or without Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So,
and I think he was mad because they didn't tell him, yo, we drafted this. We're going to draft this kid to replace you. Maybe he wanted to have that conversation.
Maybe. And what the conversation doesn't hurt.
No.
Even if it's half, full of shit. Conversation doesn't. At least you want to be talked to. You don't want to be dismissed.
Right. It's certain coaches like Mike D'Antoni. I don't believe anything he ever says because I remember he had said he wasn't he wasn't going to bench Paul Gasol,
Yeah.
right? And I sat there, it's like, it's Mike D'Antoni. He benched him Paul.
Mm-hmm.
2 games later, he benched Gasol.
Yep. Yeah.
Boy, good.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that's the thing that really frustrates. Just we understand the business, but just be honest. Don't BS me and tell me something because you think that's what I want to hear, and then turn around if you have no intention of doing that. That's where people feel disrespected.
Right. Or certain players have said, "Oh, I'm not leaving. I will never leave here. I love it here."
Yeah.
That's when you text my agent.
Exactly. That's when they're gone.
And then when the season ends, they're free agents and they're free to leave. They left. I'm like, so why'd you lie?
So why'd you lie? Exactly.
You knew you was leaving.
I love it here. We built something here, and I love the fans and all this stuff, and then next thing you know, it's bye-bye. So it works. It works both ways, and the fans, fans get both ends of it.
Right.
I mean, hell, speaking of loyalty, we've seen franchises pick up and leave. The whole like what was it? Was it in Baltimore where they packed up in the middle of the night and went to Indianapolis? Yeah. So loyalty is a funny word sometimes.
It is. I was telling one of my coworkers the other day. I said, I'm not loyal to a job. I'll come in and give my 100%.
Right.
But I'm loyal to my situation and my family.
That's right.
And you come second.
Absolutely. I believe the same thing. I'm here and I'll do what you're paying me to do and all. But if I have to make a choice, between that and my family, I'll tell you right up front, family is going to come first.
Right. Or my well-being.
Right. And that's the other thing, which we saw some of, this week playing out where people chose their well-being over what, So
well, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff. I think that I'm not mad at Simone Biles at all.
Right.
And I think that given the little bit that I know about it, she made a decision that was in her best interest. And some people got upset about it. But what I find interesting is, they talk about soft, or being soft, but they changed rules,
right,
so that other people wouldn't be upset because they couldn't do it. So what? That's soft,
right.
So, but the situation that she's dealing with, and from what I understand, with the what they call the twists or something, where they twisties, which is something new to me.
Me too.
But apparently, it could be very dangerous and career threatening. I think about it with I'll take baseball for example. If you're a hitter and you're having some issues with your vision, and that you're going up to the plate and you're not picking up the ball the way you should be, you could put yourself in potentially deadly situation with 100-mile-an-hour fastball coming at you, and you're not able to pick it up quick enough, and you can really hurt yourself. So I think about that, and if you pulled yourself out and said, I've got something I've got to get straight before I can go back out there, people would understand that.
Right. Playing the sports I played, I've been hit in the face with a baseball.
Mm-hmm.
My family made me quit.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to quit.
Right.
So that was the decision my family made. Playing basketball, I've had teeth knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
I've had lips busted. I've been busting the nose.
Oh yeah.
Falling on my back.
Yeah.
Because somebody knocked me out the air. I got back up. But Simone Biles has competed with broken toes.
Mm-hmm.
I think she had something wrong with her. She had kidney stones.
Yeah.
Listen, she was molested by NASA.
Right. That's right.
We've talked about gymnastics
Yeah.
on this show. Gymnastics is dirty.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially with guys like him.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the coaches have been abusive. So this young lady she's seen some things in her 24 years doing gymnastics. And also I watched some of the events that she was competing in. She looked off to me, David.
Yeah. That's what I heard. I didn't watch, but that's what I'm hearing.
I watched some. I'm like, I was sitting there. I'm like, ooh, no, that's not her. She would usually be more crisp.
Yeah.
So maybe she felt I don't have it right now, so I need to step back. And a lot of people who are denigrating her and calling her so you're not walking in her shoes, so you can't say that she's soft and you don't know what's going on outside of gymnastics with her.
You don't. And here's the part of it that I really just have to say, and I don't want to make everything about race, but when you look like you and I, and you are in certain positions that people feel that you're not really supposed to be in.
Right.
They, for someone like her and others, a lot of times there's a sense of, well, you're privileged to do this. And going back to what we talked about with NASA and the sexual abuse and things like that, sometimes people put their children in these programs, and they're very elite, programs, and not everybody can get the invitation to do that. So then you feel like indebted, like they took you in, and they took my child in, and they're offering opportunity. They always come to us and present it as, we've given you this opportunity. They don't do that you don't hear that language with others.
That is
where
true.
they say, oh, we gave you an opportunity that you wouldn't have. There's a certain feeling of that they make you feel indebted to them. And so for her to take charge of her situation, and say that I'm stepping back because I have to take care of me, they get offended, and they're like, what right do you have? We did all of this for you to be in this position. Because in their mind, she would never have an opportunity anything close to this. It's not about how talented she is. It's about that we gave you this opportunity. It's not that you earned it because you were the best. So now that only we can take it from you. You can't take it away. We have the right to giveth and taketh. And that's the frustration that happens with a lot of our athletes, is that there's this narrative that they didn't earn it; it was given to them, and therefore only they who gave it have the right to take it away. If you step up and say, "No, I'm not going to do this," well, you don't. What do you mean you're not going to do this? Do you know you would never have this opportunity if it wasn't for us. So it's that kind of thing, and I think that's where a lot of the venom comes from. Plus the fact that she was beating all of them. I was having I had a conversation with my son the other day, because Will Smith is going to be in the movie about Richard Williams.
He's playing Richard.
Yeah, and I was talking about with him, a lot of the backlash that he received, I think that he intentionally put himself in a position to deflect things away from what his daughters would have
Right,
gotten.
of course.
And I was explaining that to my son because they were hated on as much as Serena still gets hated on a lot more than Venus does. But when they first came onto the scene, it was the hair, it was the beads, it was the noises that they would make on the court, and they still got it. But I think without someone like their father, they would have got it 10 times worse. So he played that role. So you want to hate me. Meanwhile, my daughters are wiping the court with y'all. So while you're focused on that, they just won Wimbledon. They just won the U.S. Open and so forth. But there are certain sports, like, it's bad enough that with basketball they tell you to shut up and dribble. But that's, they figure, well, every hood has a basketball, and what are they going to do? They jump high anyway, so they might as well. but if you enter a field that they feel that you're not supposed to be in because you don't have that same kind of representation, whether it is gymnastics, whether it is golf, tennis, or it could be polo, hockey. Exactly, hockey. As much as they like to talk about, these hockey guys are wonderful and stuff, there's a hell of a lot of racism in there. And it's and then also there are certain sports that intentionally keep people out because they're just too expensive.
Right. Yeah.
The funny thing, I had a student that just graduated. He plays hockey. Black kid from Brooklyn.
Nice.
He plays hockey and he plays out in Aviator and stuff. I mean, he legit plays hockey. He's the only kid that I've ever met, that plays competitive hockey. And so while his friends are playing basketball, he's playing hockey. But it's expensive.
Yeah, it is.
And that's why another reason why you don't see many of us in it. But in those areas.
But you know what, David? If you go to places like Detroit,
Chicago,
Chicago, they do play Chicago. They, Buffalo.
Yes,
colder places
that is true.
Along the Northeast, black kids do play hockey.
As
a kid, we played street hockey.
Oh yeah, we did too. Yeah, I had a funny story. I had a lot of older kids on the block, like 2-3 years older than me.
Right.
So there was a white family that lived 2 doors down from me, and we used to go in their backyard when it snowed, and we packed the snow down so it was real slippery like ice, but you couldn't skate on it; it was too soft. But it was still slippery, and we played with a rubber ball, and so I wanted, they played. I wanted to play, so they decided to make me the goalie. And oh my gosh. So I remember there was this one kid on my block. He's like 3 years older than me, much bigger, big kid. And I was just little, scrawny little kid. And he got the well, it was a ball, not a puck, but on a breakaway. And I'm there with my catcher's chest protector. I had my goalie stick, mask on, and he's coming at me. And all I did was just crouch down like that. So when he went in, I stopped the ball, and he flipped over me and fell into the goal. And everybody was like, "Oh, what a great save!" It wasn't a save. I was trying to protect myself. It was self-preservation because this guy was. I just looked up, and he's coming full at me, and I'm like, I got to stay in there. I figured if I wanted to show them that I could hang with them, I had to do it. So I just went down like in a fetal position, and he flipped over me, and but that was hockey. We played everything. We played everything. All day. But again, where we have less representation is a lot of times they want to keep it that way.
Right. What you were saying about Serena Williams and Venus Williams' father. Venus is nicer than Serena is.
Yeah.
Now, not to say that they're both not nice people,
right?
But
right.
Serena has a different kind of mentality than Venus does, and I've seen it on the court where she don't really take no from nobody.
Right.
And
right.
What you said about Richard is right. He intentionally put himself so that they could go about and handle their business.
Right.
And in a lot of cases, everything he did was logical.
Mm-hmm.
I know people say, "Oh, he did that in the third." I'm like, no. Everything he's doing is logical.
Well, here was the most telling thing for me is that no matter what you say about, or people would say about him and what they didn't like or whatever, I haven't heard them say things like, my father did this and that, so I think they understood what was happening and what he was doing, and he was very much instrumental in getting. They're there largely because of the actions of him to put them in that position.
His coaching, because he was their coach.
That's right, and so put them in the position and gave them the opportunities. He believed in them. And instilled that belief in them, and he knew that it wasn't going to be easy for them both on and off the court, and so he can handle the off the court stuff so that they can handle the on the court.
Right. I remember, I think at one point, Maria Sharapova was paid more. She had more endorsements than Serena Williams, and I'm like, hold on. She beat Serena once.
Well, it's when they start talking about rivalries.
Right, it's no rivalry.
Beat her every time.
She been getting dog walk for 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
By Serena.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing when it comes to these endorsement opportunities. Sometimes they'll look at, well, how do we market someone like Serena or the same way you market anybody else. We wear clothes, we eat foods, we drink beverages, we do all of those things.
Right. It's funny, Dave. I used to work in advertising, so one of the companies I worked at, they would come to us and ask, "Well, how do you feel about it?" I'm like, "That's stupid.
Yeah,
don't do that."
Right.
And they would look at me, but that's not what we do.
No, don't do that. It's not. And I always joke. I've never gone to a McDonald's and it broke out into a rap concert.
There was no DJ scratching.
Exactly. None of that. And I used to get so offended. You turn on the TV, damn commercial. I said, we got to be rapping about chicken and burgers and all this.
Right.
No, we don't do that. Just give me a number 2, and back then they supersize it. But now now I think they've come a long way with that. I'm so impressed when I see a commercial with a black family and nobody rapped, nobody danced, none of that stuff. It was like, hi honey, how was your day? My day was good. Working on my MCATs.
Right. You know what commercial I hate right now?
Which one?
The Rakuten commercial.
Which
one? Where they basically remade one of Salt and Pepper's songs.
Oh, okay.
Instead of What a Man, it's Rakuten, and I'm sitting there going,
I hate those things. Yeah. Pharmaceutical companies are good for the remix of these things, and they thinking, you got high blood pressure, and stuff, and we got to sing and dance about it, and we'll be happy about it.
And the commercial is funny. They have a person, the woman in the commercial, she looks to be either Middle Eastern or Indian. The husband is white, Caucasian.
Yeah.
And the child looks to be Indian or Middle Eastern, like the mother. And they dancing and I'm just like, I hope y'all cut Salt and Pepper the check for that. But then again, I don't know if Salt and Pepper wrote that song. So maybe Herb, their producer, maybe he got the check and Salt and Pepper didn't get a check for that. It's just bad. It was just bad.
Maybe Salt and Pepper did, but Spinnerella definitely didn't get it.
You're wrong for that. That's another story. They
Can't we just get along? Yeah.
Hey, no. There is no Salt and Pepper without Spinderella.
Well, no, there isn't. I mean, and then she's not even original Spinderella.
Right. But she's the popular one.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers.
But she's the one that everybody knows. Nobody remembers the original one, but yeah, Dee Dee Roper. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And with that, you got anything else you want to get off your chest?
Oh, no, I don't have anything else. I mean, yeah, it's been a fun sports week. A lot has happened.
Oh yeah. A lot of things happen.
Yeah. I guess this is the segment of the show where we talk about R, but
he said he was angry at us from the last
I
time.
know. I was like, I wasn't even on when I was on. He said, yeah, but I sent a picture. So.
He called us ninjas.
Yeah. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. We love our brother R. He is a fixture and a staple of this program, and just a stand-up brother.
Yes, he is. CR, we showed you love.
We showed you big love. That's right. So when you timestamp this, when you get to this point in the show, yes, we send our love to Big Brother R.
So we're gonna end this tonight. I want to thank everybody who's been on our various streams checking us out. Holla, thank you, brother Ronan. I see you. Dwayne, I see you, brother. Yep. Double D. I want to thank David for rocking with me. Chandler, get well, brother. I'm gonna holla at you.
Yep.
Everybody, thank you for supporting us. Dana, I see you. BC in the house. Thank you for sharing. If you like our content, please share it, like it. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's In the Paint Media Group. Follow us on Twitter at In the Paint Media. Follow me on Twitter at RealMax611. And that other guy who wasn't here tonight, who I gave the big hug to, the big homie, R. Jones, his Twitter handle is at Real R. Jones. And this is In the Paint, the realest show in sports, disruptive media. Y'all have a great weekend. Holla at your boy. Peace.
All right, bye.